All right, so here we are at the shop. You can see I got a new tool here. This is actually called a test indicator. It's a lot more accurate than a regular dial indicator. I figured if I'm going to do tight tolerance machining like this, I should probably have one. Granted, it's not a nice one. AccuSize, Chinese special. Same thing as the tool post and probably a lot of the carbides and some other tools I've got floating around here. Give this a spin and I'll show you how close to zero we are. Now, you see how little that moves. This reads in tenths, I think it is. Real small. I put it on the face here, this face, and it was all over the place. So this bore is more concentric to the lathe than this face. And this is solid up against the chuck. So there's not much I can do about that. But got the boring bar loaded up here in the, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Put the boring bar loaded up here in the quick change, and you can see where I'm going with this. I'm actually gonna move the camera over about there. So take this boring bar, and you can see I've choked up on it quite a ways, 2 fingers width. I'm only cutting in 1/4 inch or so, so that'll be fine. I'm actually going to, what was I thinking? Use my snap gauges and my micrometers to get a more accurate measurement here, and go from there. So, must have moved again. Okay, so if you've never seen snap gauges, it's this little guy here. It's got a knob on the end, spring-loaded legs. So what these are used for is for measuring internal bores, like that. There's a little bit of feel to it, a little bit of practice. You want to be concentric and level, and then you tighten the knob down. And that actually collapsed a little bit. Kind of like that. Then you pull it out of the bore you're measuring, and you stick a micrometer on it. So let's do that. Okay, there's going to be a little bit of a continuity error because the thing keeps moving. Either because I keep bumping it or it's moving on its own. I'm not sure which. Micrometers, if you've never seen them. This one's actually fairly well zeroed. Now, the calipers aren't super accurate. 999, and we're at 0 here. These are actually AccuSize as well. But it's close enough for this. So, this is a 1 to 2 inch. Take your snap gauge here. I'm sorry, I'm leaning across the lathe. So, unlock it. And I know it should be near 1.9. So I wind this out. 7, 8, 9. 1.9. It should slide in. You get the idea, right? So I'm going to measure this up and then write it down someplace. And then we can get to cutting. Okay, now that I've got my measurements established, so the 9177 is the internal bore past the shoulder here, where I need to get to. 1.809 is this shoulder here. Focus, thank you. Is what I'll be machining out. And the 9187 will make this a press fit, and I may make that a little bit larger just to give it a little more purchase on the aluminum. Take it up to 9.2 maybe. And then once that's done, I will load this guy up in the lathe, and turn it down to the press fit diameter that I need. Okay, now that the measurement is established and my phone is not spazzing out about storage space, you can take your snap gauge and measure, set it to the micrometer, and then use it to gauge your machine work. So this is set to 1.9187, and I'll use this to set that as I'm cutting so I don't go over or under, really. But I do need to plug my phone in because it's almost dead. So let me do that, and then I'll catch up with you. Okay, so as you can see, I got out the steady rest. My thinking is that this material is so freaking expensive, like $12 an inch, that I'm going to save as much of it as I can. So running the full 13 inches in the lathe, I can machine just this end here and then chuck the rest of it in the bandsaw and save cut off very little material. So without further ado, let's get to it. And if that cuts out, I apologize. My phone storage is running low. This is going to be pretty noisy. You'll see the oil can a few times. But yeah, let's get to it. I thought it would be. This insert's pretty beat up though. So let me change the insert and get back to it. Alright, it's amazing what a difference a sharp insert makes. Still got a ways to go. Man. Turned it down too far. Okay, well, my phone died and it was complaining about the storage space. Oh, here we are. So, as you can see, it is now bronze. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do. I messed it up a couple times, but it's concentric to my old bore, which means it should be concentric to this bore, which means this guy is done. I will probably practice this a little more. Definitely practice this a little more, but I need to work on getting my tolerance practice getting my tolerances better, because this piece was off a bit from this piece, and obviously I can't machine the outside of this one, so yeah, I just stuck it in there and line bored it, and now we're good to go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button on your way out. Of course, this is the 6R80 part. You'll see that in the title. Look forward to the transmission build for my truck. I've got some parts showing up for that. So, yeah, see you next time.